These are the customers you've been looking for. And when you market on LinkedIn, you reach them in the frame of mind to do business. Do business where business is done.
इसी तरह की ही प्रॉब्लम होती है, जबकि ये रोड जो है सीधी बाहर नेशनल हाईवे में जुड़ने वाली है। कहीं से भी जिधर भी जाओ सारा पानी भरा पड़ा है, जितने भी नाले सारे बंद पड़े हैं।
The sudden night showers led to a dip in the temperature, bringing relief to many residents of Delhi NCR. But this downpour and heavy rainfall has also led to chaos, traffic congestion, and what
Good morning, Sudeep.
Good morning, sir.
Sound আস্তে আসছে। রবি,
হ্যাঁ স্যার,
হ্যাঁ বলছি তোমাদের কারেন্ট এসছে?
জাস্ট এলো স্যার, জাস্ট।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, বেঁচে গেলে।
কন্ট্রোল স্যার, আপনার গান্ধী হাই বিদ্যালয় দেখাচ্ছে যে আপনি কোন নেটওয়ার্কে ঢুকেছেন আজকে? আপনার স্যার, আপনার লোগো তো গান্ধী হাই বিদ্যালয় আসছে কন্ট্রোল স্যারের লোগোতে।
কি আসছে?
গান্ধী হাই বিদ্যালয়, আমার স্যারের নামের বদলে গান্ধী হাই বিদ্যালয়।
হুম।
এখানে স্যার কোথা থেকে জোগাড় করলেন? আপনার সাউন্ডটা মিউট আছে কন্ট্রোল স্যারের।
Good morning, sir.
মর্নিং স্যার।
Good morning.
হ্যাঁ রবি,
বলছি স্যার
হ্যালো,
আপনার গান্ধী হাই বিদ্যালয় দেখাচ্ছে।
ওটা রিজেক্ট করো, আমি নতুন করে ঢুকছি, রিজেক্ট করো।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
Welcome, sir.
হ্যাঁ, রবি, হ্যালো রবি,
সিধু কানু বিরসা ইউনিভার্সিটি লেখা আছে এবারে।
হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে।
Hello.
গুড মর্নিং।
জগদীপ দু জায়গা দিয়ে এন্ট্রি নিয়েছে। একা জগদীপে জগদীপ খুশি নয়।
জগদীপ জগৎ ব্যাপী থাকবে তো।
এবার শতরূপ নিয়ে নিলে পরে, বিশ্বরূপ নিয়ে নিলে পরে আর সামলাবেন কি করে?
তখন আমরা কোথাও নেই।
Hello. Soimda.
হ্যাঁ জগদীপ,
কি আমরা ভাইস চ্যান্সেলর স্যারকে ডাকো। সুদীপ দা, হ্যালো সুদীপ দা,
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ বলো।
স্টার্ট করি, স্যারকে একটু ডাকুন।
হ্যাঁ স্যার আসছেন,
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
স্যার আসছেন।
স্যার এসে গেলে আমরা শুরু করেছি।
হ্যাঁ শুরু করো।
সুদীপ বাবু ভালো আছেন?
হ্যাঁ ভালো।
হ্যাঁ, সুপ্রভাত।
আপনারা ভালো আছেন?
হ্যাঁ, এই চলছে মোটামুটি। আজকে আমাদের আবার লকডাউন আছে এখানে।
ও আচ্ছা।
হুম, আজকে একটু সমস্যাও আছে, সুদীপের একটু চাপও আছে।
এমনি কোভিড সিচুয়েশন কেমন এই মুহূর্তে?
কোভিড সিচুয়েশন ভালোই মন্দই মেশানো আর কি। মানুষ সুস্থ ফিরছে, তবে আবার সংক্রমণের হারটাও তো বাড়ছে। ওই জন্য লকডাউন হওয়াতে মাঝে মাঝে খানিকটা কন্ট্রোলে আবার চলে আসবে আশা করা যায় আর কি।
এই বাংলাদেশে
গুড মর্নিং স্যার।
এটাই না
দিস ইজ অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট। গুড মর্নিং স্যার।
স্যার?
গুড মর্নিং স্যার।
গুড মর্নিং স্যার।
ভেরি গুড মর্নিং স্যার।
গুড মর্নিং স্যার।
গুড মর্নিং এভরিবডি।
চুপচাপ বসে
জগদীপ স্টার্ট প্লিজ।
শোনা যাচ্ছে? গুড মর্নিং স্যার।
গৌতম স্যার, আর ইউ হিয়ার? গৌতম স্যার,
हेलो,
यस सर, गुड मॉर्निंग।
गुड मॉर्निंग। आवाज आ रही है ना?
यस सर।
रीलामाला এসেছে জগদীপ?
ओके।
জগদীপ रीलामाला?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ এসে গেছে, এসে গেছে। শুরু শুরু করছি। হ্যালো, প্লিজ আনমিউট রিলামালা, প্লিজ আনমিউট yourself.
Yes, sir.
Very good morning to all and warm welcome in the Sidho Kanu Birsa University, Purulia. It is raining heavily today, yet most of the participants are present in this virtual seminar. It's inspiring us as well as motivated us also. The COVID-19 pandemic had a sudden and substantial impact not only on human life but also on the art and culture heritage sector too. The global health crisis and the uncertainty resulting from it profoundly affected all organizations, operations, as well as individuals, both employed and independent across all the sectors. But our university never stopped even in these circumstances. Day and night, our researchers, academicians, officers, and staff are working in the academic situation under the leadership of our energetic, dynamic Vice Chancellor, Dr. Dipak Kumar Kar. Due to that, today our university, Sidho Kanu Birsa University, is touching all the heights. The way of our university used to work in its normal day, like that, it is shifting its working culture in virtual mode, even in this pandemic situation too. That's why today we are assembled here. I can see the wonderful gathering for the discussion and deliberation on cultural heritage of South Asia on the verge of COVID-19 situation. With due permission of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, I would like to start the webinar in the virtual mode, which is organized by NSS Unit and Department of CHO, Sidho Kanu Birsa University, Purulia. Sir, are you permit us? Hello.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you,
please.
sir.
Sit, please.
Okay. First of all, I would like to invite our students Rilamala Soren for her inaugural song. Please join us, Rilamala.
Johar. Chakle jhaba kakhwa kode gogo osateri kai mein. Chakle jhaba kakhwa kode gogo osateri kai mein. Muruk jala sahay lagi olo oselai mein. मुरुक जाला सहाय लगी ओलो ओसेड़ाई में করম কপাল অলগে নোয়া নৌকা মনে বাগি মে করম কপাল অলগে নোয়া নৌকা মনে বাগি মে হাটি মে সরে সো ওলো ওড়াই মে আম্ভ খাটি মে সরে সো ওলো ওসেড়াই মে Olo akil har ko hanko ter mate ko rakamen. Olo akil har ko hanko ter mate ko rakamen. Abho khati mein joto ugiya olo oserai mein. Abho khati mein joto ugiya olo oserai mein. Luchela mat si bodiya tisre bako ere mein. Luchela mat si bodiya tisako ere mein. Hisabia olo oserai mein. Hisabia olo oserai mein. Akile batire benete amte amdoche ngame atamte amdoche ngana pin sore so olo oserai me jiona pin sore so olo oserai me jiona pin sore so olo oserai me Johar.
Many thanks to Rila Mala Soren for her wonderful Santali song. Meaning of the song is people today have reached a very achieved advanced level by learning to read and have we reached in a sky. It is why we have to move forward through our actions and our cut of soil with a spirit for poverty, fight for poverty. We must move further together, education, and walk in unison with the rest. Thank you, many thank you for Lamala. Now I want to request our Dr. Sudeep Bhoi, our organizing secretary and NSS coordinator for his welcome address. Please,
Good morning,
Sudeep
everybody.
sir.
Good morning, everybody. I am feeling proud as representing of our Sidhu Kano Birsa University greater family at our virtual entrance to welcome all of you in today's program. This August assemblage is adorned with our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir Professor Dr. Deepak Kumar Kar, Registrar Sir Dr. Nochiketa Bandopadhyay, Controller of Examinations Sir Dr. Subal Chandra De, Dean Madam of Arts and Director Center for Indigenous Studies, Deans of Science and Deans of uh, Commerce, officers, faculties, and all the employees and students. May we express warm greetings to our noble resource person, Professor Mohan Kant Gautam from Netherlands, Dr. Sujit Kumar Datta from Bangladesh, Mr. Shubham Pal from China, Dr. Sanjay Kumar from New Delhi, Dr. Piyush Ranjan Sahu from Jagdalpur, and Dr. Shobita Misra from Siliguri, and other esteemed presents represent different avenues. We are happy to get the pulses of large presence through electronic social media, and the people will come again with the forthcoming memories of these valuable occasions. Let me bring you together through the twin towers of our university, great flourishing university, the National Service Scheme units, and Department of CHO as enterprises of community services and glorifying identity. Since 2012, National Service Scheme Cell commenced its voyage in our university. More than 5,000 volunteers, 51 program officers are active in gaining experiences through community services. Our university students develop their personality in 4 units and under the guidance of 4 active program officers. Besides the participation and achievements in many international and national events, we have been making collaborating work with UNICEF with more than 3 years in service of people of Purulia district. We are doing our series of activities in COVID-19 crisis also. Department of CHO is established in 2014, first time in India to inculcate knowledge and universalize the UNESCO acknowledged martyr folk dance form. We are active with an able group of artists, gurus, exponents in learning, performances, mask making, and documentation. Even during the COVID-19 situations, we extend our services to community through create the awareness and making survey and food distribution not only through artists but also artists from the other folk dances. Purulia is fascinating land for not only the diverse geomorphology or scenic beauty with foliage, range of hills, river and systems, has a continuous history from the Stone Age to present time. Joino Acharanga Shastra, Vedic literatures, great epic, and colonial records provide glimpses of golden time flowed over this land. Here, a large number of ethnic groups like Santal, Munda, Ho, Bhumij, Orao, Bauri, Koda, Mahato, etc., live in consequent periods, make the amalgamation of cultural traits, linguistic elements, folk cultures, and accumulate in unique regional cultures. Like its mineral resources, eventful history of constraints, movements, and tolerance, Purulia is a land of unlimited source of cultural heritage. Jhumur, Tushu, Bhadu make sonorous in the sky of Purulia and create rhythm through Chou, Natua, Bata. Rich cultural heritage definitely attract your mind. Now this united assemblage are waiting for cultivate the domain of knowledge on cultural heritage of South Asia. Concept of folklore with learning of the people, popular antiquities, mental equipment of the folk as essence of civilization gradually expand its horizon. UNESCO advocates the term cultural property, intangible and tangible cultural heritage to develop and a strong tool with compatibility with international human rights instrument as well as with in, and with the requirement of uh, mutual respect among community group and individual. It is also considered with material and non-material combination and their cognized forms. A vast array of indigenous knowledge help us to understand the emerging problems of COVID-19 and acquaint us to stay healthy. Social cultural cohesion, community living, new experiences in facing COVID-19 will be main contribution to immunity from the cultural heritage. Now, perspective constructed from our focus and the discourses earlier happened, we can expect from this webinar to create a new approaches to serve the humanity and relationship and bring a peaceful natural environment. Thank you to you all and welcome with great words.
Many thank you, Dr. Sudeep Bhoi, coordinator NSS, and as well as coordinator Department of Chow 2. Now, I am requesting to our Honorable Vice Chancellor Deepak Kumar Kar for their inaugural speech. Before going to that, just I want to say something. In the efficient leadership of our Vice Chancellor, Sidho Kanu Birsa University is touching its heights, even in the era of this epidemic. The best example of its excellence is our university is acknowledged for the academic achievement 24 Ghanta Excellent Award 2020, which we will get 22nd August in evening. Sir, I requesting to just join with us and just give us inaugural speech. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. It is my pleasure to express cordial welcome to all the respected delegates, resource persons to our Sidho Kanu Birsa University. Professor Mohan Kumar Gautam, the Vice President, European University of West and East Netherlands, Dr. Sujit Kumar Datta, Associate Professor, Department of International Relations, University of Chittagong, Bangladesh, Dr. Sanjay Kumar Chaudhary, Member of the General Council, Sangeet Natak Academy, and member of ICH Committee, UNESCO, India, as well as the resource persons of tomorrow, Mr. Shubham Pal, the Beijing-based journalist, author and documentary filmmaker, Dr. Sudhir Ranjan Sahu of Anthropological Survey of India, Ministry of Culture, Government of India, Jambalpur, Dr. Shobita Mishra, the principal of Vidyasagar College of Education of Siliguri, respected registrar, controller of examination, and other officers of our university, and our respected Dean of Arts and the Director of Center of Indigenous Studies, Professor Sonali Mukherjee, respected head of the departments, respected coordinators, NSS program officers, coordinators of CHO department, and all the faculty members, and the non-teaching staff, and dear students. Today I am happy to be associated with this inaugural session of today's international webinar organized by NSS sections and the Department of Soul of Physical University. The webinar is entitled as Cultural Heritage of South Asia, the part of COVID-19 situation. Cultural heritage is highly precious, demandable, and long cherished treasure, and has with us as gift of our ancestors. Since culture prevails on the earth, 21st century world turn to make importance regional, tangible, and intangible, and knowledge resources as global players. Concepts, ideas, and practices involved with cultural heritage become prime focus of United Nations organizations, government bodies, and civil society. South Asia exists on a highly valuable historical geopolitical location covering the nations Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, the Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, and parts of adjacent states reflect continuous network of cultural fabric. Currently, South Asia contains 7.8% sites of the World Heritage List, belong to the 1/5 of the world's population. The cultural heritage of South Asia has golden history and antecedents throughout its history, villages, and people reflect uniqueness and diversity. India as heartland of this region possesses rich cultural heritage with continuous progress. The Bengal carries a large spectrum of cultural diversity from the dawn of civilization. Ostrich and Australoid ethnic group on the earliest cultural spectrum, and Purulia, which exists in a tapestry of culture from the remaining of flowing successions in temple architectures and with impressive history. A language, dress ornaments, ideas, and attitudes are found as rich cultural heritage. Folk cultures of India are world famous with its show dance, Jhumur song, Achini, Panta, Natua, and many more traditions of marginal people consist intangible cultural heritage of India. Our university, from the very beginning of inceptions, is dedicated to preserve, nurture, and extend the regional cultural heritage to international level through academia and performance. A number of sons of this file, like Dr. Pasupati Prasad Mahato, the renowned anthropologist, intensively involved to make this institution as protector and ushering center of indigenous culture. Department of Santali, along with language, literature, performs Santali songs and dance in many programs of university, in and outside the campus. NSS cell with 4 university units have been working relentlessly for the community services as well as to preserve, protect, and to promote the cultural heritage of the region. So, cultural, heritage work in 2009, and it is well documented. Since 2014, the Department of Show is turned into complete wings with learning, performance, mask making, and research. The Chumur department of our university came in existence from 2017, and the Somali section is also to support, promote, and extend the local cultural heritage. Artists from the West Bengal and Jharkhand play their role as both guru and disciples. Central Museum was established in the university campus as center of priceless collections of ethnographic objects, historical remnants, archaeological treasures, repository of art, crafts, and manuscripts, which give special impetus in the workmanship. From 2016, with galleries of Dokra, woodcraft, terracotta, chomas, pictorial gallery of rare archaeological specimens, and tribal gallery with beautiful paints by regional artists. In near future, we are preparing a tribal gallery with morphological replica of local tribal people, their cultural specimens, and everyday material culture. A well-equipped gallery of musical instruments is also transcending its planning page. This platform, as a queue of our activities, may be a good support to enhance the credits of all these enterprises. The COVID-19 pandemic situations bring us in a dilemma to survive these items from the crisis of artists and their involvement, practices, and debates. The arts and cultural heritage basically result of enjoyment, entertainment, and transmission of experiences to next generations. Our institution as well as other stakeholders are making efforts in sake of survive, nurture, and utilize these resources to combat present harm by creation of awareness, knowledge dissemination, and motivate to well-being. An enormous scope in research, study, and applications are emerging in the area of disseminations, transformations, and learning of cultural heritage. The cultural heritage as healing culture is also occupying a popular arena. Folk cultures remain as treasure troves. Communication through cultural heritage is a powerful tool to enhance the ethnic solidarities and cultural cohesion and community resources. Role of governments, civil societies, and individual efforts in intellectual property rights, policy making, and its execution for conservation of cultural heritage treat as urgent issues. Documentation, research, and knowledge disseminations are focus area to empower and welfare of the marginal section of people. Establishment of museum, community galleries, actual museum, ethno-ecotourism, cultural heritage-based film industries, cultural managements are emerging for the future direction in the field of cultural heritage. I think these potentialities will be re-examined in the mind of participants through this program. All are welcome in the August gathering and wish you for great success of this international webinar. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, sir. You are just shown us how the cultural heritage is important to us, and you are just show the whole scenario and just put against us what is the cultural heritage and what is the importance of cultural heritage in our life. I thank you, many thank you, sir. Now I am requesting to our honorable registrar, Dr. Nachiketa Bandhopadhyay, to say few words. Please join us, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Jagdeep Gaurav. Beautiful anchor you are. Welcome, everybody. I convey my regards to Honorable Vice Chancellor, who just delivered a magnificent speech. And I convey my regards to our esteemed speakers, Professor Mohan Kumar Gautam, Dr. Sujit Kumar Datta, Dr. Sanjay Kumar Chaudhary, Dr. Piyush Ranjan Sahu, Dr. Shubham Pal, Dr. Subita Misra. I express my gratitude to Dr. Sudip Bhui, NSS Coordinator, and Professor Devasit Bhatt, Dr. Paldon Murmu, Dr. Geetosri Singh, to uphold the spirit of the academy in such tough condition. I welcome our respected Controller of Examination, sir, our IQAC Director, our Deans, Professor Sonali Mukherjee, Faculty of Arts, Dean of Faculty of Science, Dean of Faculty of Commerce, and my respected coordinators of Jhumur and Chow Center of this university. I welcome my dear students and scholars. Exactly, so far, we have listened a beautiful speech from my honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. Beautiful spoken about endeavor of my university with cultural heritage of this area at par with international phenomenon. Actually, culture is most dynamic in a very silent or passive phase also. So, cultural dynamicity in this area and its heritage of this soil are at par with several international phenomenon in COVID stage also. I would like to share a little bit of it. Here is the constraint of, of any endeavor cultural heritage. Uh, Let me say about some heritage problem now. The role of heritage sites play must not be underestimated. Out of the 1,000 official UNESCO World Heritage Sites around the globe, more than 270 are in Asia Pacific region, representing roughly 24% of all sites, including Chinese. According to United Nations Cultural Watchdog, approximately 85% of these sites are now closed until further notice. The remaining sites are operating tertiary and are applying restrictions for the few domestic tourists. It should also be noted that this ratio applies equally to thousands of other cultural sites in the region which do not have an official UNESCO status but are also tourist magnets. This illustrates the magnitude of the shutdown and its effects on the heritage sector. However, the global shutdown of tourism also has a silver lining. Cultural heritage sites are taking advantage of empty sites to scale up their infrastructure projects and archaeological excavation for which time and staff was missing under normal circumstances. Natural heritage sites are witnessing a relief for flora and fauna as mass tourism halts. This not only gives the opportunity for sites and site managers to breathe and focus on preservation, protection, and restoration. It also allows for much needed time to explore new ways of guiding tourists through the sites and parks. Museums or exhibition spaces, especially need to seize the opportunity of empty institutions and identify one way that steering in order to be able to reopen as soon as governments allow, while following health and distancing regulations for the foreseeable future. This pandemic showed yet again how culture is more than a nice to have. It is in fact relevant to us in many ways. Only does the cultural sector employ millions of people, it also builds resilience and is what we have recourse to when times get tough. Our cultural identity is what brings communities together. The faster we ensure that culture is spotlight during this crisis, and the faster people will be able again to partake in it, the sooner we will overcome the challenges brought by COVID-19. The tourism industry worldwide ground to a halt in March 20, when all international borders were closed due to the pandemic. United Nations World Tourism Organization project a 60 to 80% decline in international arrivals for 2020. Given that tourism is a major source of growth, employment, and income for many countries, especially in developing countries and small island developing states. Restarting this sector is a major concern for governments around the world. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, in 2019, 1.5 billion people crossed international borders with tourism, accounted for 29% of the world services exports. It is also estimated that 1 in 10 jobs, with migrant workers, young people and women making up a significant proportion of this workforce. The crisis also puts in jeopardy fundamental parts of the cultural tourism sector and vice versa. The medium and long-term implications are significant. Many natural and cultural World Heritage sites rely on tourism revenue to carry out conservation or archaeological work. In addition, with countless workers currently on furlough, there has been an uptick in poaching and looting in certain places. This is not always by illegal trafficking rings, but also local communities whose livelihoods have been undermined due to the crisis. Longer term, if conservation work cannot resume, it could leave a lasting mark on humanity's treasures of outstanding universal value, reducing biodiversity and fueling international crime, as well as impoverishing local communities and global community alike. In a similar way, a recent ICOM study showed that nearly 13% of the museums may never reopen, meaning that access to culture will be reduced. Over the past 2 decades, cultural heritage, especially in conflict zones, has been negatively impacted by terrorism, illicit trafficking, climate change, lack of funding, and even neglect. COVID-19 has had similar effects, but in incredibly short period of time. So just it was a little experience. What I observed during these days, comparing with 2019 situations, and now we have assembled here to sort out such constraint and how to mitigate this. I hope this webinar will enlighten us in this way. Thank you, everybody.
Many thanks, sir, for your brilliant researcher you are already. Because whenever you are talk anything, you are research willed. So you are inspiring us also. Many thank you for your deliberation. Now, I want to request our controller of examinations, Dr. Subal Chandra De, to say a few words among us.
Thank you. Respected Honorable Vice Chancellor, eminent speakers from home and abroad, dear colleagues, respected registrar, respected deans, faculty members of our university and the outside universities, and my dear students. First of all, I must convey my heartfelt thanks to our NSS team and the organizing team headed by Dr. Sudip Bhui and Professor Devasis Dhok for organizing this webinar. This endeavor reflects the social responsibility of the NSS team, the CHO department, and the university as well. As our Honorable Vice Chancellor mentioned, we have a prolonged history to nurture and to promote the heritage of the locality. As you know, the university is the sacred place where modern education is to be imparted to our student community. And one of the important characteristics of modern education is that it is perceived as a bridge between the past, present, and the future, and as a means by which the best of the heritage, please back to the point, the heritage transmitted to the new generation for its further progression. Now, what is heritage? Heritage is the full range of our inherited traditions. It is a keystone of our culture that plays an important role in our politics, society, business, and in worldview. It strongly influences our sense of identity, our loyalties, and our behaviors. The varieties in heritage is developed over a prolonged time in a region centered on a province depending on the following parameters. The number one is literature we normally use in the region. Number two, the philosophy. There's the philosophy of life we execute normally. Number three, fine arts. It has two parts. One is performing arts, which includes music, theater, drama, and the other one is visual arts, that is painting, architecture, sculpture, etc. Number four is lifestyle. That means what type of clothes we wear, what type of mechanism of transport we normally use, adopt, what social functions we normally take place in wedding, in other. Number five is cultural institutes, organizations, events, etc. And first of all, the cinema, sports, and the media. Now, these can be categorized in two broad heads. One is tangible and the other one is intangible. Tangible means, as you know, objects, artifacts, buildings, places, monuments, which have a physical presence. And intangible means it is the tradition and living expressions inherited from ancestors and passed on descendants. Now, the question is why we are so much worried about the heritage in this pandemic situation. Yesterday, in our local Bengali channel, I have seen that some people who were the maker of the idol of Devi Durga were crying of distress. They are lamenting literally as they were practically no work. Same kind of distress has ceased to many other sections of the society who are involved in decoration, lighting, and artworks, etc. In reality, crores of people will be affected in Bengal, and you know, Durga Puja is very much important part of our culture, and this is cultural heritage, obviously. And this situation is developed due to outbreak of COVID-19. Now, please come back to Purulia. In the last 6 months, not a single visitor came to Purulia to enjoy the scenic beauty of the district. Our God Panchakot, Deulghata, Kashipur Rajbari, Nath Mandir of Bero, Ajodhya Pahar, many fascinating dams, all the alluring heritage sites are remaining neglected for this period. Please extrapolate this picture from a small district to the big world and try to quantify the distress, the dejection of our co-citizen. Another point of concern about our district is that the artists involved in shows, Jhumu, that is the pride of Jungle Mall and the country as well, are now facing unprecedented situation. If this continues and we remain indifferent, some heritages of the world may be lost forever. Therefore, this is the high time to take the matter seriously. As far as my knowledge is concerned, UNESCO has already taken some initiatives to set forum of experts in order to develop the awareness among people. We have to, rather we should, also be serious in searching new emerging technologies. Some digital possibilities are to be explored to strengthen the resilience of the artists and people engaged in this field in this new normal. This webinar, many experts are present who will throw some light on it, and I believe the objective of this seminar or webinar will be fulfilled and this will bring some hope, some fresh air to the people attached to this profession. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Many thank you, sir. You are just enlighten us. What is the cultural heritage and what is the importance of cultural heritage in our life? Nowadays, our cultural heritage is in the danger position. And you just also says about our so many cultural heritage practice is going on in Purulia district, which is just in the silent mode nowadays. Thank you. Many. You are enlightened many things and raise the many questions. We will find in our next, our speakers are already present here who will deliberate and we will understand what is that. Many thank you once again. Now, I am requesting to invite my eminent anthropologist and personality in the field of social anthropology, Professor Mohan Kant Gosam. It is my pleasure to introduce him, but I felt that in front of sun, I stand with the candle. Somehow, Mohan Kant Gautam studied social cultural anthropology from Lucknow University. After that, He is a lecturer in 1959, and he settled after lectureship. He go to the Leiden, and from Leiden he just completed his PhD and delayed degree. He delivered his lecture in India, China, USA, Canada, South Africa, Europe, Mexico, Russia. Means I will, if I say that across the world he just visited and given his lectures. Please, sir, over to you for your keynote address of this webinar. The topic of keynote address is the original indigenous communities and their cognates. What are their cultural characteristics in reconstructing India? Please welcome, sir, and requesting to please present with us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rao. First of all, I would like to thank to the Sidhu Kanu Birsa University in Purulia in West Bengal. And then simultaneously, I would also like to thank to our professor, Vice Chancellor, Mr. Professor Deepak Kumar Kar. I think he said so many things, and I think I agree with him, and I'm not going to repeat them, but I will try to use them in a different way. Similarly, the Registrar Nachketa Bandopadhyay also said many things. And then Subhash Chandra Dey also said something. But what I want to say, all the three big personalities, they emphasized on one thing: cultural heritage. I agree, because without cultural heritage, the life is hollow. You can't do anything. But the question is, as I put up in my title, we have to see two things. A, the cultural heritage, which is always there, whether society is indigenous or aboriginal, whatever it is, or the society like the majority of a people like in India, the Hindus, the Muslims, they have also cultural heritage. Even outside India, in the Pacific countries, they also have the cultural heritage. But my question is here, and that's why I am little interested, and sometimes I am little in problem. What we have to talk: cultural heritage, indigenous communities, and then what can they play a role in our reconstruction of India? These are the questions. First of all, I would like to tell who are the original Indian communities. There is a lot of controversy about it. Some people say that those who have lived in India cannot be found out. Only few areas like Andaman or Kerala, and about the Chotanagpur, Bengal or Odisha, whatever, or Jharkhand. People say, well, these people have moved, they have never been living here. Now, I differ. Even well-known anthropologists have said it. Now, the question is, in which way we are going to define? There are two ways. India has defined the indigenous people or the original people in their own way. The only thing is what they have done, they have put name, scheduled tribes, scheduled castes, etc., which is again a new term have been given to them. According to the Asian Bank and United Nations, the indigenous peoples, they should be regarded as those with a social or cultural identity distinct from the dominant or mainstream society, which makes them vulnerable to being in disadvantage in the process of development. I think this has to be seen. This is a sort of definition. which I would like to agree with it. Now, the question is, what are the social indicators? They are, of course, economic status, that they cannot do so many things. They are not entrepreneurs, like similar to the, let's say, the Bengalis and Americans and other people. They are industrialists. Of course, India has also industrialist people. But then the question is, why do we call them in a derogatory way? I mean, like, let's say Adivasi or Janjati, whatever name you can give to them. The question is, as you know, in our, within quotations, within inverted commas, Adivasis have been considered always, I would not use the Sanskrit words, primitives, aboriginals. Well, I should tell you that all these years these people have lived and they have gone through the changes, and they are not the same what the derogatory term tells about them. That's the one thing we have to keep in mind. Second thing is, sometimes people say, as today also said, marginalized. Of course, they are not marginalized, but they have been considered marginalized and behaved like that, which is also not good. The examples could be seen in a different way. In Bengal presidency, as it used to be after 1757, when it was created. And if we look at now, of course, there are all the states have come, Bihar, Odisha, Jharkhand, even Chhattisgarh, etc., etc. Let's say, who are the original people in these areas? Of course, we will always say they are the Adivasis or the tribals. But then, what are their problems? Can they keep their cultural heritage, whatever they are, social structure, religious institutions? And sometimes I feel there is a big danger to them because they have lost an access of their ancestral land. Now, when I say ancestral land, I mean, let's say they were forced to move to the jungles and to clear them, and then to create for the revenue the fields for the Britishers. And then, of course, some of our landlords took the advantages and they were pressed. And then what happened? They wrote letters to the commissioners or the administrators. And when they did not listen, they had some sort of rebellion, revolt against them. And it was their right, actually. They wanted to use their right. Secondly, by doing this process, the social structure of these communities, whether they are the Mundaric people or whether they were the Dravidian, like speaking Kurukh or Malto, etc., they were negated, ignored, not given any attention on their social structure. And the institutions, of course, part of that. So this created a problem. And then in future process, they were also not giving opportunities to participate in the system or the political system or the administrative system which was prevailing at that time. So two things started, and that's why the whole thing became very important for the cultural heritage. They were forced, the Adivasis I'm talking about, to think about their self, how shall I say, identification. What they are and which was their culture gave them the identity. but which is neglected, which is ignored. And ignored by whom? By others who had their own identification about these people. This conflict was there and still it is going on. Now, to look at all those ideas, actually, in the Northeast India, which has been the seat of development for the whole India after the Britishers or even before the Britishers who came to India, the problem started with let's say Calcutta was the seat. Calcutta, I'm so sorry, I'm using the word Calcutta, Kolkata is it is said. That was the place where the modernization is started all over India. But in that type of modernization, the Adivasis were not contacted at all. Of course, there was an attempt by William Jones, when Asiatic Society was created, he wanted that we should know, I mean, the Britishers should know India, Indian values, Indian culture heritage, and then they should develop the country indirectly for their own goods and for their own administration. And of course, there was even the first college by John B. Christ was opened in Calcutta around 1800, where the vernaculars and languages and other things were started for the students and especially for the Western young administrators. Okay, these ideas are known. But then what happened when India became free or independent after 1947? And it was also in the end of the World War II, 45. United Nations was created. And United Nations in 1948 created a universal declaration about the human rights. And the basic idea was that those who live in the country, independent country, they should be treated equally, like the French Revolution also in a way said fraternity, democracy, etc., etc. And which was not bad. And the basic idea was they should be encouraged and be a part of the political system also, which was a very good idea. Even India accepted, but there have always been a problem because when an old system continues, sometimes that system is not forgotten. So the old parameters of that system continues and where the people also suffer. Now, if we have to look at all these things, I mean, you remember the United Nations also is created in 1993, the International Year for the Human Rights, also for the tribals. And even for one decade, they continue to work all over the world. But if we look at India, having said this thing, the question remains to me, and this is very important, that in which way we can see the tribal cultures, if they are indigenous people, which I would say they are, and the development of India and what has been their participation. Of course, if you look at now, I mean, the Mundaric people or the other tribal people like Orang and Pahadia, they all have contributed for the development of India, but their proportion is very, very less compared to the other people. So that is another thing. But then the question is, even within the tribal India, if we talk about South Asia, there are the pockets where the people are not settled agriculturists, but they are the food gatherers, hunters, etc., etc. Now, that actually forced me also, and especially when I look at The whole concept of tribe, the whole concept of jati, the caste, even the concept which was elaborated in a different way by the colonizers, Hinduism, actually that created problem. When the first survey, census survey started in 1871, before that, there was a movement going on in England. And that movement said if we have to administer our colonies, then we should look at those people from the point of view of races. The racism started. And Scotland had a big racial society, London had. And even one of the persons who came and did a lot of work in India, in the north, Risley, he was also motivated by the racial ideas. And that's why in 1871, when the census was created, the informants did not know anything. They went to the people and they said, you are Hindu? Yes, I am Hindu. You are this? Yes, I am that. On that basis, this census was created. It was nice, but it did have a lot of problems. That's why people like Kurmis, they were considered tribals and they did not want to be tribal. So, I mean, they were changed after 10 years because the census should have taken always 10 years. Now, all these things started, but in this process, something happened which is very interesting. We did not give thought about the Adivasis. I'm talking about Adivasis now, of a few concepts. A concept of home. What is their home? Where they are now left. If they cannot move, if they cannot live at one place and they are moved further and further, what is their home? And if there is no home, sorry to say, there is no family. And there is no family, there is no culture, there is no civilization. Because culture and civilizations start from the family. Because if a child knows the family, then as a family, the first is school, then he can also be told about about his forefathers, which is a fact. And in that way, their relations, etc., with the neighborhood, with the city, etc., then you come to a certain conclusion. There is a culture, there are traditions, there is a language which we all use. Okay, having said this thing about the concept of home, the second thing is, and which is also very important from the anthropological point of view, belongingness. Do they belong to certain territory? Do they belong to certain cultural region? Do they belong to, let's say, Bengal, West Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, etc., etc.? So this concept became a well-known concept. Of course, the youngsters did not know the whole Bengal. Youngsters did not know the whole India. And that became to them as an imagined India, an imagined culture, heritage. But what I'm trying to say, if we can look at the family, then perhaps we can see many things which have happened in India. Now, let's move further to develop this cultural heritage. And of course, I would come of the C19 virus and other, infectious diseases. But what is more important? Here, the tribals, I'm looking at the tribals now. As I said, there are the bigger groups like Bhils, Gonds, Nagas, Rajasthan, Meenas, Khon in Odisha, Munda and Ho. I mean, these are there. They're a big group. And I'm not talking about their myths and history, but the very important thing is they also have a oral tradition which are in form of songs, stories, which have somewhere been noted and somewhere these things are sort of ignored. Now, as the VC said, as the registrar said, we should have museums. I must say, I am a museum man. I am connected to the international organizations. When people cannot go out and see other things, the only way to look the other people is through the museums, because museums are the communicative centers where they tell about the society, where they tell about the country, where they tell about the reconstruction processes, where they tell about in which way we can move further, and then it is also connected with the documentaries and films and what we say nowadays in anthropology, visual anthropology. That gives a new sense that we are not isolated people, we are in a big way connected to all our people. They might have different names, but they are just like us. So, this is the one thing. Second thing is, which I also want to say, that when these people were ignored, what did they do? They said, there are the like Santhal whole Birsa movement. So many movements were there, which were called like rebellions. But I must tell you here one thing. Perhaps we should look at these rebellions under the concept of ethnicity. They had certain demands, but those demands were not fulfilled. And they were forced to do all these things, which they never, because tribals are the most honest people, more clean people. And many, I mean, I have been working for 50 years. They are very, very nice people. I say, if you talk to them, if you give them respect, you get everything out of them. So this is another way. Anthropologists have tried to use the participant observation, which was created by Malinowski, one of the well-known anthropologists. And then I have some idea, and which is the structural anthropology has developed. One thing in structure, if you want to look at a thing, you have to always look good and the bad. Now, if you have to look at the family, then you will have to look at in which way they marry each other, because the marriage, succession, kinship, heritage, they all are connected to each other. And that's why the religious values are also connected to all these, the family matters. Now, for example, if I, as I started, the Mundaric people or the Dravidian people, they use the word Dravidian. I mean the North Indian, Oraon, Paharias, etc. They had one word, which is the word they define themselves. Like Mundaric people were there, Ho or the Munda or Santhal, or they will always say we are actually Horde. A Horde means the men, human beings who had a right to live. Even the Kuruk means the man. So this has been the basis for them. Of course, they are patrilocal, they are patrilineal, and they have the lineages, and then they marry, but they don't marry in the same sublineage, which is called under the Khoot system in Santhal, or the Kidlis, or whichever way, because I'm not trying to explain all these things to you now. But more important thing is you have also to consider their heritage from the point of view of Khut Katti rights of Mundas. I mean, they were also in among the Santals. And there, if you understand, then of course the two things are there. There are when the marriage is there are the affinals and the agnates. Now, agnates are from the boys' side or the marry, and the girls are from the affinal side. Now, that's why the Manki Munda system started. That when they cleared the forest, they had the head. One was the secular head, and other was the village head. And the village head also got married through the Pahan or the Jogmaji, whatever you would say. And there the marriage system started. Now, very interesting thing is perhaps there should be some more uh, time should be given by us, and that is now Dravidian community which came to the North India. Well, of course, they say they were in somewhere in the North India. They had the castle. Okay, I agree, but we do not have this the historical facts. In South India, they have the cross cousin marriages. Even in the Krishna time, there were also cross cousin marriages. Warlord Weil from Sorbonne University said that Krishna was actually a South Indian because the marriage of mother's brother's side was there. So what happened? The Mundaric people, including the Asurs, they have one system they created, which is in structural anthropology called the asymmetrical or delayed magical system, which they did not have. I mean, the cross-cutting marriages are not there; they are very exceptional. And this, I would say, like mothers, brothers, sisters, daughter, one side; other side, fathers, sisters, daughters, son, other side. So within the three generation of mother side, you could marry, and then it is also said the 5 years, 5 generations of the father side you cannot marry. This is the way of to look at the structure of the community, which our tribal people do have, but we have ignored them. Now, very interesting thing is the concept of the spirits or bongas. Now, there are always spirits, and sometimes very interesting. If you look at the Santhal came from North India, and then they must have come from the east because they have the Austro-Asiatic language, and they might have then gone down to the Santhal Pargana and other areas. Their bonga system, or even the hose, etc., it is very close to Burn, which is a blend of shamanism, spirits, and they worship the nature. That means the jungle, Jal, or Zameen. All the three are there. And that's why our people started, of course, they are called the Satar in Nepal. And in India, they are called the Santhal, which is not their name, but the name was given to them. That's why the interesting thing is here that in all the Mundaric people, you would have a grove of few trees, which were the first remnants of those old trees, and which is called in Santal Pargana Jahir Than or Sarna or Desolia. I mean, all these different names are there. But the basic idea is that they cannot, the Adivasis of Bengal, Chhattisgarh, Bihar, they cannot, even Khons, they cannot live without the nature. That's why they have been demanding all the time, please
allow us, give us rights, and that's why they use the concept of ethnicity. That's why in 2000 I organized with two more countries, Sweden and Denmark, in the University of Uppsala, a conference where we invited many people from India and other parts of the world, and this was called The Trajectory of a Contemporary Concept of Indigenous People in India. Roy Burman was there. Many people were there. And it was very nice. First part of that book, that conference has been published. Second part is still waiting, and I think I would be publishing it soon. So the Kunt is actually means the lineage. Actually has become very popular among the Mundas, and marriages are connected to it, whether it's a Singbonga, they all are connected, and which is a part of their heritage which we cannot forget. I would like to explain here from the anthropological point of view what we have developed. First of all, you have to see that a concept which I am using created when these tribal people or the Adivasi were forced to move out from their clear jungles. And once they moved they developed a contested identity with the people, and that's why they use the ethnicity, and there were the movements and rebellions. Now of course things are different. Now they are minister, political scientists, philosopher, I mean all sorts of. So now within the for the reconstruction of India they are participating, and then of course Indian constitution always help here. But the question is, a minister can say, Mamta Banerjee can say yes and sign, but who is going to execute the whole order? And there we are again standard with the so-called bureaucrats, because they have their own way, they have lived in their own way, and they can't change it. They are changing, but it's a very slow change. I will give you an example. I have seen one of the best museums on our tribal people of North India. And as VC said that we have to have departments and then museums, and we could work there. Of course, museum is a center, as I said. Oslo, there is a museum. When I went in 60s, at the time Vidyarthi in Ranchi University, my brother tell me, what is this Santhalistan? I have never. The place for Santhals, okay, I can understand. I think that is the basic idea, that the Santhal mission of northern churches from Oslo and other places, they found there Scraps Road, Boding and Gyosdal, they were the people. And they did a lot of work. They even wrote the history through their own gurus, the Santhas, for the people. The cultural heritage should remain, and it has become a book, like a sacred book to the Santhas. Now, modernization started, and in the modernization, the only two things happened. A, the Chota Nagpur, which was called the place for the Mundarik and the Dravidian people, it was divided, and it was divided for the linguistic point of view, for the administrative point of view. Like the host, they are also in Odisha, they are also in Jharkhand. Look at the Santhals. Santhals are also in Bengal. I'm not talking about the Bangladesh, etc. I mean Assam, but I'm talking about our area. Our area means Bengal area. So they are divided. Even Chhattisgarh, you have the Gonds, and Gond you also have. Even in UP, Mirzapur, there was some recently a thing happened. So what I'm trying to say, the tribals or Adivasi wanted to accept modernization, and they accept it. But the only thing is, I think this is very important for us, and we have to give there some importance, that our Adivasis are not Hindus, Muslims. They have become Christian. This I think we will have to keep in our idea. Second thing is, of course, there have been a problem when in 47 India became independent, and of course Nehru had a very good relations with Barrier Alvin, and Barrier Alvin's philosophy was to keep these tribals separated, which he of course accepted, Nehru, and it continued in a way, symbolic way. If you look at S.C. Roy, who wrote about our Adivasis, or N.K. Bose, who was also the director, or D.N. Majumdar, they had somewhere an idea. I was a student of Majumdar, that the tribes Adivasi must be integrated with the Hindus, and they have always been integrated, but they had their own sort of religious values and rituals which were connected to the paddy cultivation and the rice, because without rice all the rituals are useless. So they started, and of course all these three big personalities also did say that they are passing through transition. Majumdar used the word transition, you can say transformation, and whatever, the words we could use it. The question is the role of family members, role of the community for the culture heritage. It's very interesting. I will give you a few examples. Like you have, let me finish this about museums. Oslo Museum is the richest museum of the world about the Santhas, and I have done a lot, and I'm working still. And this is Boding's collection, and it started in 1900, even earlier. So about 900 or even more than 1,000 artifacts are there. Leiden had also about 300 with the letters, etc. I have all the copies, so I'm working there. What I'm trying to say, please, VC Sahab, I request you with my folded hands. If you want to develop an integration with Adivasis and non-Adivasi, then you have to help the departments to develop new theories, send the people outside for exposure and know, so that they should know what's going on. And museum should be a place where we can move further. That's one thing I want to request you, because anthropologically, of course, Calcutta was the first city where anthropology started. But then it moved further to the North India and the South India. And as there have been three schools, the British school was a school where I have used the term Malinowski, etc., the participant observation or functional structuralism, like Leach or Redcliffe Brown started. But then on the other hand, Americans always gave more thought on the culture. Putman was one of the most important anthropologists, and his student, Franz Boas, he did something, and he actually inspired many anthropology. The whole Chicago School of Culturology, I mean, is there. Margaret Mead, Ruth Benedict, I mean, so many names I need not to tell to you. And then, of course, the French school or the structuralist school. Now you have a post-structuralism, post-modernism, but I'm not talking about that. But the structuralism, what Levi-Strauss started in Brazil, because there are the real original people. And then when he was a counselor in New York, he started writing. And those ideas of course, he has been connected with Durkheim because Durkheim's student was Marcel Mauss, and then Marcel Mauss's student was it Leach and other people. But Leach actually, this no one knows in anthropology, I tell to you. Leach actually knew Dutch also in Netherlands. I mean, he wasn't from Belgium. He needed to move to France because the Belgian has two parts, the Dutch language or the Flander as it is called, the Flemish, and the French. And he got a lot of idea about the structuralism from the Dutch anthropology because in Indonesia there are 300 islands and they did a lot of work and they tried to look at things differently. So the approaches started and the students started learning and moving further. I myself nowadays use a different method, which is very difficult, but we can do it. In 50s, it was started by psychologists, but it did not continue. It did continue in a different way for clinical disease, clinical ways to look at the disease. I use the term which is used by Frederick Barth and the students of Levi-Strauss also, which is called the cognitive approach. Now, cognitive approach is an approach which can tell you everything, but you cannot understand it very easily. The basic idea is the human beings with cultural heritage, with family, with religious institutions, want to have one thing, and that is in his ideas, in his mind, ideas are running. Ideas in which way we can preserve it, in which way we can practice it, and what were our forefathers, etc., etc. Now, this idea then is put into the practice, and then it becomes the material culture, or the institutions, or the values, or even when we combine both of them, it becomes the philosophy, which has also been in our scriptures. Now, what I'm trying to say, the thinking of a person, actually, that is his heritage. And if we can understand that thinking, and that is only through the cognitive approach which I'm using, it is sort of a new method I'm developing. Then we can understand the people, we can understand what do they want to have in their own areas, what type of development they want to have. And if we move further, I think we can create a society where all are equal and all are developed and well-being. And this is the basic thing, which is my dream also. I want to look at from this point of Bangladesh, or the Bengal, I mean. West Bengal has done a lot. Now things are also moving to Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, and Bihar, and even in other parts of India. But what my whole idea is that if we can develop this, then we understand the people, we make the friendship. My own principle is if you meet anyone, do not have discrimination or segregation. You give him respect. You try to you give him love. And then with these two things, you respect him, you listen to him, and he becomes your very, very good friend. And this is the way the marriages started. First, people people become two friends. And I mean, it's not the traditional Indian way, but I'm trying to look at what is going on nowadays. And they become good friends because they understand each other. And the understanding of each other, understanding of a person, this is an cognitive approach which we should use. Because with the cognitive approach, you should also have two things are very important. Not so much the work has been done in the Santhal Pargana or Bengal. You have these scrolls like Santhalpat they are called. I mean, Kolkata, you can even buy them. There are the painters. I'm not talking about Kumar Toliya, which is a different part of Calcutta. They are working with images of Kali ji, etc. That's a different thing. So scrolls should be collected. And Santhal Pargana still have the patuas used to make it. Collect them. Collect the oral traditions because what the earlier people did it, the administrators. I think we can do even better. Indians are well qualified. Indians scholars are they know a lot, but the only thing they should know more, and this is my request to all of you, they should know more about other countries, other Adivasis, other people. And if we know them, then we really create, like the Rigveda said, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, then we come to a one family. And that has been the basic idea of all the religions. No conflict, live peacefully, and that's the way. So, ladies and gentlemen, and Honorable VC Sahab and Registrar Sahab and Controller Examiner Sahab, and sorry, this Orang Sahab, and all, I do not know the name, so please excuse me. This is the way you should move further. One thing you have done very good, that there has been a concept, coinization. In the social linguistics, if you look at, there were two persons in 60s or 50s. Uh, one was Fisher and other was I'm forgetting the name, but I can tell you afterwards. And they started theories about the social linguistics. And when that mention, a mixture of all, that Pundarik has Hindi, Bengali, Odia, or even the Nepalis, and they all have been combined in such a way that the grammar has been working. And to understand the grammar, you have also to look at the folklores, songs, dances, etc., which is a part of recreation, which is a part of worship, which is a part to understand the social structure, which is actually the asmita, as it is called, the identity of the people. And this identity must be regarded, must be respected. And if we can do that, I'm sure we can create world of welfare in India, and it could be a model to many African, Asian, and Latin American countries. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, sir, for your brilliant keynote address and informative deliberation. Sir, you are trying to enlighten us regarding the indigenous communities, how reconstructing the Indian through their culture, and how we have to respect them. Whenever we respect them, then we get the respect. That's why you are brilliantly spoken us and enlighten us among the what is the tribal culture and what is the goal of the tribal culture and how we will accommodate them in our main civilization area. Many thank you.
The only thing is I could not, sorry, the only thing I could not talk on this about the virus and anthropology.
Okay.
So I'm sorry
Okay.
for that because time is running out. I have taken more time. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now one announcement that our honorable vice chancellor want to leave this program because the sort of time is there and he is engaged in many programs. That's why I many thanks to our honorable vice chancellor to leaving us, and just your blessing with us always. I think many thanks. Now now I am requesting the young and dynamic honorable guest speaker, Dr. Sujit Kumar Datta, Associate Professor, Department of International Relations, University of Chittagong, Bangladesh. In his credit, 9 articles published in national and international level also. He is also one book in his credit. He completed his PhD degree from China. Now, 2 projects is going on under him. Today's topic of his deliberation is cultural heritage and sustainable development goals. Appraisal from Bangladeshi perspective. Sir, please join us.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just one thing, Gautam sir, please mute yourself. Okay, just start.
Thank you. Firstly, let me thank the organizer, Shidhu Kanhu Vishwavidyalaya, for inviting me here. Thanks a lot to Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Deepak Kumar Kaur, for his impressive address. Thanks to respected Registrar Dr. Nachiketa Bandyopadhyay and Controller of Examination Dr. Shubhal Chandra for their valuable address. Thanks to my co-panelists and who are renowned in their academic fields. Special thanks and congratulations to Professor Mohan K. Gautam for his outstanding keynote speech. I have learned a lot of things from his lecture. I had opportunity to meet with Professor Gautam at Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi, in another international seminar in last January 2020. Thank you, Professor. Today's webinar on cultural heritage of South Asia on the birth of COVID-19 situations. But I will give my lecture on cultural heritage and sustainable development goals and its appraisal from Bangladeshi perspectives. Cultural heritage is an expression of the way of living developed by a community and passed from generation to generation, including customs, practice, belief, places, objects, artistic expressions, as well as values. As an essential part of culture as a whole, cultural heritage contains these visible and physical traces from the ancient times to the recent times. Cultural heritage is a wide concept. It prefers to concentrate on the similarities between the various heritage sectors instead of their own difference. Cultural heritage has 2 parts. One is intangible heritage and another is tangible heritage. Intangible heritage are language, performing arts, social practice, rituals, customs, values, festivals, knowledge and practices concerning nature and universe, and traditional skills. And tangible heritage are monuments, group of buildings, as well as sites. Characteristics of cultural heritage. Firstly, the past can be read, reconstructed, and circulated through archaeological remains that are identified at the heritage. The heritage is essential for the identity of a nation and ethnic group in the sense that the root of can be traced back, reconstructed, and understood through archaeological work on heritage. The glorious and prosperous past of a nation is essential for building a better national future. Secondly, heritage can be protected and preserved. The opposite is regarded as an anti-national, anti-state, inhuman, and uncivilized. Without the apparent expressions of the protection of heritage, someone could easily be labeled as an unconsciousness and ignored of his or her civilized identity. Thirdly, and most interestingly, the norms and the process of protection and the codes of conduct for preservation now codified as a systematic management system. Heritage must be managed. Fixing the terms of and conditions of the management must be under the sole authority or some institutions by the government and non-government institutions. Fourthly and finally, heritage turns into an industry, a field where both financial and intellectual investment are made and profit is sought. Branding is done with nationalist feelings. Selective symbols from the past are commodified and consumed within a suggestive marketing policy. Tourism and sustainable development in this way become trapped into the new liberal economy. Sustainable Development Goals, the SDG introduce a holistic and integrated framework that extends across the social, economical, and environmental dimensions. The SDG, also known as the Global Goals, which refers to an agreement of the United Nations to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. On 25th September 2015, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, along with a new set of development goals that are collectively called Sustainable Development Goals. This agenda, endorsed by the 193 member nations of the General Assembly, both developed and developing, and applies to all countries. The SDGs are an inclusive agenda which tackle the root causes of poverty and unite together to make a positive change for both people and planet. It has 70 goals, 169 targets, and 232 indicators. And now, cultural heritage versus sustainable development. Cultural heritage and sustainable development hypothetically develop driven by short-term interest cause of substantial threat of cultural heritage and historic environment. Cultural heritage and historic environment are not just of value of individual who own or own live in a historic context. Cultural heritage can also have the value to the well-being and quality of life of the communities, can help prevent the cultural globalizations, sustain cultural diversity, and positively affect economic development. The role of heritage motivated for sustainable development is absolutely clear. Preserving cultural heritage provides environmental sustainability, cultural sustainability, as well as economical sustainability. On the 17 finalized SDGs goals, one of those, goal number 11, centers on recruit make cities and human settlement inclusive, safe, strong, and sustainable, and includes a series of 11 number targets, each with politically negotiated indicators. That goals is backed by specific targets and indicators such as eliminating slum-like conditions, reducing urban struggle, and ensuring universal access to safe and sustainable urban transit. Goal number 11 marks the United Nations' strongest expressions about the critical role that cities will play in the world's future. Although none of the 70s SDGs goals focuses exclusively on nature, the resulting agenda includes several explicit references to cultural aspects. Under the goal number 11 is an important indicator for the cultural heritage. Target 11.4 reinforce efforts to protect and safeguard the whole cultural and natural heritage. On other references including target 4.7, which focuses on promoting knowledge and skills and the appreciation of cultural diversity. Target 8.9 and 12B, which promote sustainable tourism and local culture, aligned with target 14.7, promoting sustainable use of agriculture and tourism. Target 16.3, 16.8, and 16B promoted the enforcement of the rule of law and strengthening global governance to protect the culture all over the world. All targets have specific implications in the field of culture. These targets give the light to the role that local heritage can play in the sustainable development framework. Indeed, sustainable development goals are supported by the international instrument and actions such as establishment and mandate for a new special procedure entitled Independent Expert in the Field of Cultural Rights through the Human Rights Council. In this context, cultural heritage centralized in the enjoyment of human rights and it combating fundamentalism and extremism all over the world. Cultural heritage and sustainable development is related in the three issues. One is cultural heritage and sustainable communities. Second one, cultural heritage and sustainable economic development. Third one, cultural heritage and resource productivity. productivity. The first one, cultural heritage and sustainable communities. The main feature of the 21st century is globalization. It is universally acknowledged that this phenomena will affect every country despite its political or economic system. According to the many economists, the most significant impacts of globalization will not occur on national or even provincial level, or strongest impact will be local and primarily will they affect the communities and their citizens. It is evident that protection and maintenance of fixed cultural heritage play a crucial role for sustainability of communities because all the cultural assets, theaters, music, visual arts, crafts, local customs and values, traditions are inherently connected with and enhanced by the physical context within which they were created and evolved for in centuries. It is acknowledged that cultural resources will play a significant role in a sustainable culture, social, economic development of communities. So, the physical fabric that has influenced their creations has also to be maintained. The second one, cultural heritage and sustainable economic development. In the sphere of cultural heritage, the preservation values are critical, deciding what to preserve and how to preserve. Even making the typical preservation decisions reveals many different and sometimes divergent values, artistic, visual, and historic values, plus economic values, tied with the use of building or other structure under consideration. In economics, the separate products usually gains the monetary premium. If cities or other urban settlements strive to attract capital, they must differentiate themselves from anywhere else. Cultural heritage is the element that best expresses diversity and identity of the place. And the final one, cultural heritage and resource productivity. Resource productivity measures the efficiency of the economy in generating the added value from the use of natural resources. In a simple expression, resource productivity can be defined as getting the most out of fixed resources, maximize the use of renewable resources, and minimize waste. Everywhere where environmental limits exist, improvement in resource productivity allow to combine economic growth and environmental protections. 3D cultural heritage can also contribute reaching the targets of resource productivity and foster not only economic growth and environmental protection but cultural diversity. The government of development and developing countries striving to implement sustainable development strategy to improve quality of life in communities must recognize the value of historic buildings and their repair, and generations have to be welcome rather than their pulling down and replacement or construction in the vacant land. As Sustainable Development Goals and Bangladesh. Bangladesh is globally rewarded as a remarkable achiever in the field of socio-economic development and made significant economic progress in the last 12 years. The SDGs build on the achievement of the Millennium Development Goals. Bangladesh is a star performer in the relation to the MDGs. According to the Bangladesh Government MDG Progressive Report 2014, it has met targets like reducing hardcore poverty, poverty gap ratio, reducing the prevalence and underweight children, attaining gender equivalence at primary and secondary education, under 5 mortality rate reductions, increasing enrollment at primary school, lowering the infant mortality rate and maternal mortality rate ratio, improving immunization coverage, and reducing the incidence of transferable disease, among others. The government of Bangladesh has formulated several strategies for the country to ensure economic growth with the quality that is inclusive, reduce poverty and inequality, ensure food security and nutrition for all, gender equity, disaster risk reductions, and building resilience to the climate change, ensure better health and basic education, as well as to ensure environmental protections and sustainable natural resource management. Principle of Sustainable Development Goals in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is combined achieving SDG by 2030. There are some principles of SDGs regarding Bangladesh that should be followed to achieve SDGs goals. These are first one, leave no one behind. SDG commits within the principles of leave no one behind. The 2030 agenda seeks to benefit all the people by reaching out of all people in need and deprivations. It is the bottom up approach. For example, in Bangladesh, the focus is on ensuring universal health care for people living at the margin of the society, mainly talking to the people with disabilities, ethnic minorities, and migrants. Second one, inclusiveness. Inclusiveness is the key principle to realizing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It ensures participation of all parts of the society, irrespective of their race, gender, ethnicity, and identity, to contribute to its implementation. For example, in Bangladesh, government has committed to include disability themes in various policies and trying to open up job markets so that they can get decent job. Fourth one, sustainable economy. Bangladesh has to move towards use of clean energy resources, inspirations of small entrepreneurs, and development of new innovations, which provides prosperity and opportunity for all to ensure sustainable economy of Bangladesh. Utilizing local resources. According to an estimate, Bangladesh would become 92% dependent on imported fuel by 2030 if local coal is not explored and utilized. Efforts should be made to supply the needs to communities for local resources. Preservation and sustainable utilities of the man-made environmental and cultural heritage are also very essential tasks. Climate actions and disaster management. Bangladesh is widely recognized as a country that is extremely vulnerable to the effects of climate change due to its geographical positions and low-lying flat topography. Within the last 15 years, the country has experienced and increased the frequency of intensify of natural disasters. Global partnership. The development of partnership between Bangladeshi civil society and academia and their counterparts in developed countries as well as in other developing countries, which helps to tackle global problems together. It is important to increase South-South and North-South collaboration on research, education, cultural exchange, and many more. Bangladesh initiatives to achieve sustainable development. Bangladesh has some strategies planned. Some of these plans have to come from global perspective and some from national perspective. These plans are contributing to achieve sustainable development. These plans are as follows. The first one, National Sustainable Development Strategy, NSDS. The NSDS has addresses mainstreaming sustainable development challenges across sectors in integrated economic, social, and environmental objectives across the sectors. It also includes mechanism for monitoring and implementation progress and institutional mechanism for people participations. Vision 2021 targets. In recognition of development challenges, recently the government of Bangladesh has get on a perspective plan covering 2010 to 2021 aimed to implementing Vision 2021. The key message of the Vision 2021 and the associate perspective plan is a prosperous, progressive nation in which food and energy security shall prevail with the drastic reduction of poverty and low level of unemployment. The third one, seventh five-year plan. Bangladesh has already taken initiative to align sustainable development goals into the 7 5 years plan. The 7 5-year plans is consistent with the global agenda for higher growth of developing countries with appropriate measures for protections and protection of the environment. Eradications of extreme poverty will be fundamental principles of the strategies laid out the 7th 5-year plan documents. Other development plans are example, National Society Social Security Strategy, Health, Population and Nutrition Sectors Development Program, National Women's Development Policy, Bangladesh Climate Change Strategy and Action Plan, National Plan for Disaster Management. Challenges to ensure sustainable development goals in Bangladesh. The sustainable development goals which aims to eradicate poverty and inequalities of outgrowth economic growth while respecting environmental boundaries. Bangladesh faces challenges in every sector for sustainable development. The main challenges are integration in the national planning process, encourage all the governmental ministries, departments, and institutions to develop national response to the overall implementation of this agenda. This can support the transitions of sustainable development goals and build on existing planning instruments such as national development and sustainable development strategies as appropriate. Second one, financial and non-financial sources. Finance is the key component if the coming process is the successful delivered. Public financial sources, domestic resource mobilizations, and official development assistance. And private financial resources, private investment, remittance, and FDI. Non-financial resources as follows: technology transfers and market accesses. The third one, institutional mechanism for implementation. Attainment of sustainable development goals will require a strong and effective institutional mechanism involving all stakeholders, including public representative, government, private sector, civil society, and development partners. Participations and accountability. Ensure people participations is a key challenge to achieve sustainable development goals. Sustainable development depends on a decision-making process which is the participatory and accountable to all class of people. Data monitoring. The government of Bangladesh undertook a data mapping exercise to assess the availability of data for Bangladesh in the light of sustainable development indicators. Key challenges are accessibility, quality, and corrections of data will be critical. Effective use of rapid technology progress, validations of non-official data, ensuring finance for data. There are lots of challenges Bangladesh have to face to attain sustainable development goals. In every stages of development, we have to face a new challenges, but it is natural and we should take a proper plan to face these challenges. In the conclusion, I want to say sustainable development can be defined as the development integrating environmental, economic, social, and cultural goals. The trend of economic globalizations carries a significant threat of cultural globalizations. The loss of accuracy of the built environment and identity of the place are the main concerns starving for the sustainable development of community. Numerous studies and researchers implemented around the world have demonstrated that cultural heritage and its preservation can significantly contribute towards reaching the targets of sustainable development goals. Thank you very much.
Many thanks to Dr. Datta, who are inspiring us how sustainable development goals are essential for us. What is the important role of sustainable development? Because the present situation, without the sustainable development, we cannot sow the future for our next generations. So cultural heritage, we have to just protect them, just restore them, just you have to conserve them. That's why we are need to the sustainable development goals. Many thanks to Dr. Datta for his brilliant deliberation and information with us, sharing with us. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
Now I am requesting the young dynamic honorable guest and speaker, Dr. Sanjay Kumar Chaudhary. Dr. Sanjay Kumar Chaudhary, a social cultural activist, a believer of Gandhian philosophy and renowned name in the field of art and culture from Jharkhand. He holds PhD degree from Tilkamachi University, Bhagalpur. His topic of research was globalization and its alternative, a study on the Gandhian perspective. He worked 21 years in the field of art and culture. Notable, Dr. Sanjay is awarded with Swar Sri and Swaresh Award. In his credit, Dr. Sanjay worked immense for the upliftment of the rare folk dance form and chow. Sir, just I am requesting to you, just come and enlighten us with your deliberation. Today's your topic is role of women in Tridhara Chau of India. Just welcome, sir. Over to you.
धन्यवाद. आर यू गेटिंग मी?
Yeah.
मेरी आवाज आ
Clearly.
रही है? आप से अनुमति लेकर के और सभी विशिष्ट जनों से अनुमति लेकर मैं अपनी बात हिंदी में रखता हूं. मुझे लगता है कि सुविधा होगी आपको. सबसे पहले मैं SKBU के माननीय वाइस चांसलर महोदय को के प्रति आभार व्यक्त करता हूं. इसके बाद मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं श्रीमान डॉक्टर जगदीप उरांव जी, श्रीमान पलटन मुर्मू जी, डॉक्टर गीता श्री सिंह जी, डॉक्टर सुदीप भुई जी, डॉक्टर देवाशीष धाक जी, मिस्टर लक्ष्मीराम गोप जी, और ये जितने डिस्टिंग्विश गेस्ट स्पीकर हमारे आए हैं. बहुत ही सारगर्भित और बहुत ही जानकारी और लाभप्रद विषय इन्होंने आज के कोविड-19 के परिप्रेक्ष्य में रखने का प्रयास किया है. मित्रों, बहुत सारी बातें थी और बहुत सारी बातों को एक्सप्लेन किया जा सकता है, किंतु समय का भी ध्यान रखना है और समय का कसाव है. इस नाते कुछ बिंदु जो माननीय उद्घोषक महोदय ने हमें विषय दिया है उसके संदर्भ में मैं विशेष रूप से कुछ अनुप्राणित करने का प्रयास कर रहा हूं आपके सामने. और इसके जो प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट हैं ग्लोबल इंपैक्ट के संदर्भ में, और जो माननीय विद्वान मोहन के गौतम जी ने जल, जमीन और जंगल की जो बात कही है, इसके संदर्भ में कई बातें हैं जिसको कि हमें आपके सामने रखने का मन हो रहा है और हर्ष का अनुभव मैं कर रहा हूं. खास करके भारत सरकार के जो दो कला क्षेत्र की जो अग्रणी संस्था है संगीत नाटक अकादमी, उसके जनरल काउंसिल के मेंबर के नाते जो मैंने अनुभव किया पिछले सत्रों में, हालांकि अभी नए सत्र का गठन नहीं हुआ है, इस नाते अभी भी मैं उसमें बना हुआ हूं. और खास करके जो इंटेंजिबल हेरिटेज यूनेस्को है उसके जो एग्जीक्यूटिव बॉडी के मेंबर के नाते अभी जो काम करने का मौका मिला है और जो लगातार काम कर रहा हूं, और पिछले 20-21 वर्षों से झारखंड के, बंगाल के और उड़ीसा के कुछ भागों में जो काम करने का मुझे अवसर मिला है, इस नाते कोविड के परिप्रेक्ष्य में आज जो फोक कलाकार हैं, जो आर्टिस्ट हैं, उन पर जो फोकस किया गया, ये जो सतत इसके विकास की जो बात कही जा रही है, इसका सतत विकास कैसे हो, सतत डेवलपमेंट कैसे हो, इसकी जो बात की जा रही है, एक इसके लिए इस अंतरराष्ट्रीय वेबिनार का स्वरूप देने के लिए मैं एक बार सिद्धू कान्हू बिरसा विश्वविद्यालय के सभी गुरुजनों का और सभी आचार्यों का, शिक्षाविद का और जितने विद्वान सहभागी ने सहभागिता किया, मैं उनके प्रति आभार व्यक्त करता हूं. मित्रों, शांति पर्व में, महाभारत के शांति पर्व में एक बात आती है जिसका हिंदी में ये रूपांतर है कि अगर कोई व्यक्ति किसी समाज में शस्त्र के द्वारा अगर लोगों की हत्या कर देता है तब भी समाज वह जीवित रहता है, लेकिन अगर वह प्रज्ञा की हत्या कर देता है तो वह समाज जीवित नहीं रहता है. प्रज्ञा मतलब क्या? प्रज्ञा मतलब हमारी कला, हमारी संस्कृति, जिसको मोहन के गौतम जी ने कहा हमारी अस्मिता, हमारी कल्चर, क्योंकि हम मानते हैं कि हमारी जो संस्कृति है वो हमारी पहचान है. आवर कल्चर इज आवर आइडेंटिटी. और जब मैं इसकी चर्चा करता हूं तो मैं केवल झारखंड का, बंगाल का, उड़ीसा की चर्चा नहीं करता हूं, ना बिहार की चर्चा करता हूं, ना बिहार के परिप्रेक्ष्य में चर्चा करता हूं. इसको मैं पूरे भारत क्षेत्र की बात करता हूं. भारत क्षेत्र में हमारी जो संस्कृति है, हमारी जो सोच है, हमारे जो तरीके हैं, हमारा जो अपनापन है, हम जो व्यवहार करने की दृष्टि रखते हैं, वो चाहे वो बांग्लादेश हो, चाहे वो पाकिस्तान हो, चाहे अन्य क्षेत्र हो, ये पूरे भारत क्षेत्र की जो वैचारिकता है, भारत क्षेत्र की जो संवेदनशीलता है और भारत क्षेत्र के में जो सांस्कृतिक पहचान है, जो उसकी आइडेंटिटी है, उसकी जो कल्चर है, मैं उसकी बात करता हूं। तो यह तो एक विषय है और इस विषय के नाते हमें यह देखने की बहुत आवश्यकता है कि जो राष्ट्रीय संस्थाएं हैं इस महामारी के परिप्रेक्ष्य में उस महत्वपूर्ण दस्तावेज की उसकी सुरक्षा करने में कैसे संभव है, क्या उन्होंने किया, आखिर हमें और क्या करने की आवश्यकता है। तो हमें यह देखने में आता है, एक जो इसके प्रैक्टिकल पक्ष हैं, कि संगीत नाटक अकादमी ने छौ के क्षेत्र में, चाहे वो मयूरभंज का छौ हो, चाहे वो सरायकेला का छौ हो, और चाहे वो पुरुलिया का छौ हो, बंगाल का छौ हो, मानभूम छौ हो, खरसावां छौ हो, चंदन क्यारी का छौ हो, ये सभी छौ के जो खास करके 3 शैलियां हैं, इसमें उन्होंने संगीत नाटक अकादमी ने व्यवहारिक रूप से खास करके कोविड-19 के पहले भी और कोविड-19 के संदर्भ में भी क्या बातें की है, उसको मैं आपके सामने रखने का एक विनम्र प्रयास कर रहा हूं। कई बातें हैं, मानव विज्ञान पर बहुत सारी बातें हुई, जल जमीन जंगल के संदर्भ में काफी बातें हुई, हम हेरिटेज को किस प्रकार से जो आदिवासी हैं या जो वनवासी हैं या जो जनजाति हैं या जो और भी बहुत सारी बातें हैं, वो कई बातें आ गई हैं, उसको मैं रिपीट करना नहीं चाहता हूं। मैं खास करके जो महिलाओं की इसमें स्थिति है और खास करके इन सांगीतिक संस्थाओं की जो भूमिका है कोविड के परिप्रेक्ष्य में, उसकी मैं थोड़े बहुत मैं शब्दों में उसको रेखांकित करने का प्रयास कर रहा हूं। 1994 के बाद पहली बार संगीत नाटक अकादमी के तत्वावधान में जो छौ केंद्र की स्थापना हुई है झारखंड में, और वो संस्कृति मंत्रालय भारत सरकार और झारखंड सरकार के तत्वावधान में जो तीनों छौ के शैलियों के विकास के लिए, उसके संरक्षण के लिए, उसके संवर्धन के लिए काफी प्रयासरत है। उन्होंने पहली बार पुरुलिया में, बागमुंडी में उन्होंने छौ का एक प्रशिक्षण केंद्र चलाने का प्रयास किया है। मास्क का जो प्रशिक्षण केंद्र है उन्होंने चलाने का प्रयास किया है। इसके अलावा लगातार 1 वर्षों में जब से ये कोविड-19 की जो स्थिति बनी है, जो बड़े बड़े ऐसे व्यक्ति हैं, समाज का जो वर्ग है वह किस प्रकार से प्रभावित हुआ है। हम कहते हैं जब आर्थिक स्थिति पर हमला होता है तो फिर हमारे सारे जो ताना बाना है वो टूटता है। और अगर ये भारत देश की 2 ही संस्कृति, 2 ही पहचान हो सकती है, मेरे विचार से, यह मेरा व्यक्तिगत विचार है, भारत देश की पहचान है कृषि और दूसरी पहचान है इसकी संस्कृति। और इन संस्कृति की रक्षा करने का जो बड़ा दायित्व है कलाकारों के माध्यम से है। और वह कलाकार भी कौन? जो गांव में हैं, जो अड्डों पे रहते हैं, जो वनों में रहते हैं, जो जल और जमीन और जंगल की वास्ता रखते हुए अपनी लोक कला को जीवित रखते हुए भारत के सांस्कृतिक उत्थान के लिए, भारत के विकास के लिए, भारत को अमूर्त धरोहर के रूप में, एक विरासत के रूप में उसके संरक्षण करने के लिए जो जिम्मेदारी संभाले हुआ है, वो केवल और एक केवल है, वो कलाकार है। तो उसके लिए उनको जब ये कोविड की बात आई तो कई लोग तो उनके उपार्जन की कुछ विधियां हैं, लेकिन इन कलाकारों की एक ही उपार्जन की विधियां हैं कि कार्यक्रम हो, हम अपनी कला का प्रदर्शन करें और अपनी साधना के द्वारा जो समाज को कुछ देते हैं, समाज के द्वारा हम कुछ प्राप्त करें। लेकिन यह जो महामारी का दौर आया है, ये पूरी वैश्विक महामारी है, केवल भारत के संदर्भ में नहीं है। और ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करते हैं, ऊपर वाले से प्रार्थना करता हूं कि जल्द ही पूरे विश्व को इससे मुक्ति मिले। तो इस संदर्भ में जो सबसे प्रभावित वर्ग रहा है वो वर्ग कलाकार वर्ग रहा है। और मैं विशेष करके छौ के बारे में इस बात को रखना चाहता हूं। संगीत नाटक अकादमी ने दीक्षा के कार्यक्रम के माध्यम से, संगीत नाटक अकादमी ने वेबिनार के माध्यम से, और संगीत नाटक अकादमी अभी इसके और लोगों को ये पैसे मिले, रोजगार मिले, कुछ उनका काम हो, उनकी सक्रियता बढ़े, उनको आर्थिक उपार्जन होता रहे, इसके लिए उन्होंने संगीत नाटक अकादमी ने अनेक वेबिनार पर अनेक कार्यक्रमों की भी प्रस्तावना की है और ये पूरे वर्ष तक चलने वाले हैं। अभी हम लोग वर्चुअल छऊ फेस्टिवल की तैयारी कर रहे हैं। जो जल जमीन और जंगल से वास्ता रखने वाले जो कलाकार हैं इससे जुड़ेंगे, उनका आर्थिक उपार्जन होगा, आर्थिक उनका उपादान होगा। उसी प्रकार से संगीत नाटक अकादमी एक पूरे गुरुओं का और ऐसे क्रिटिक का, छऊ पर काम करने वाले जो लेखक और लेखिकाएं हैं उनके ऊपर कार्यक्रम करने जा रही है और उस कार्यक्रम का नाम छऊ चौपाल हम लोग देने वाले हैं। इस तरह के अनेक कार्यक्रमों से संगीत नाटक अकादमी, ईजेडसीसी और भारत सरकार की जो संस्थाएं हैं वो कोविड से किस प्रकार इस चुनौती से कलाकार को निपटने में मदद करे, यह प्रयास वो लगातार कर रही है। उनके सदस्य के नाते, उनके मेंबर के नाते, कोऑर्डिनेटर के नाते मैं इस विषय को बहुत ही नजदीकी से देख रहा हूं और आपके सामने मैं इस विषय को भी रख रहा हूं। जहां तक विषय है आईसीएच का, यूनेस्को का, तो हम जानते हैं जो कला की, ललित कला की, मौखिक, धार्मिक, श्रवण के माध्यम से जो कला है उसका जो विकास हुआ है, उसके संरक्षण के लिए, उसको प्रिजर्व करने के लिए, उसके संवर्धन करने के लिए, उसके विकास करने के लिए अनेक योजनाएं पर काम हो रहा है। कोविड के संरक्षण में, कोविड के काल में अनेक प्रकार की चुनौतियां उन कलाकारों के भी आए हैं, चाहे वो सत्रिया नृत्य हो, चाहे वो कोटियट्टम हो, चाहे वो मणिपुरी नृत्य हो, चाहे वो किसी भी प्रकार की जो नृत्य शैली है, चाहे वो कुचिपुड़ी हो, सभी के साथ कुछ न कुछ ऐसी बातें आई हैं कि उनके कलाकार जो साधक हैं इस पीड़ा से बहुत ही भी इन स्थिति में बहुत सारे कार्यक्रम को लेकर के उनके बीच जा रहे हैं और उस काम को कर रहे हैं। अभी छावनी ने और ईजेडसीसी ने मिलकर के छऊ कनेक्ट एक कार्यक्रम आयोजित किया और उसमें जो मयूरभंज के छऊ के जो 40 से 45 जो 8 अभी उसके प्रथम अंश में 8 जो समूह हैं, 8 दलों को उन्होंने आमंत्रित करके उनको कार्यक्रम में हिस्सा लिया, उनको कार्यक्रम में आमंत्रित किया। मयूरभंज छऊ में काम करने के लिए अनेक ऐसे गुरु हैं जो इस प्रकार के काम कर रहे हैं, ऐसे बहुत सारे एक्टिविस्ट हैं जो काम कर रहे हैं। सरायकेला छऊ में ऐसे बहुत सारे गुरु हैं जो इस चीज को काम कर रहे हैं। पुरुलिया छऊ में भी बहुत सारे आज वो काम कर रहे हैं। संगीत नाटक अकादमी छऊ केंद्र के माध्यम से अभी 9 केंद्र चल रहे हैं। 9 केंद्र में 2 केंद्र पुरुलिया में है, 4 केंद्र अभी सरायकेला में है और 2 केंद्र अभी दिल्ली में काम कर रहा है। इस प्रकार के केंद्र के माध्यम से उनके एक अनुमानित आय और एक निरंतर आय उनका बना रहे, इसके लिए ये संस्थाएं काम कर रही है। जहां तक मेरा मानना है, एक एक्टिविस्ट के रूप में पिछले 26-27 वर्षों से जो मैं काम कर रहा हूं, इस दिशा में काम करने में, कला क्षेत्र में मैंने अनुभव किया है कि जैसे कुचिपुड़ी है, सत्रिया है, ओडिसी डांस है, जैसे भरतनाट्यम है, इस को बहुत एक ऊंचा स्थान देने में और एक प्रकार देने में एक जो स्थान इनको मिला है उसमें महिलाओं की बड़ी भूमिका है, बहुत बड़ी भूमिका महिलाओं की है। लेकिन आज छऊ में बहुत दिनों से यह प्रयास चल रहा है कि जो हमारी बहनें हैं, जो साधिका है, जो छऊ नृत्य में महिलाओं का आगमन हो, महिलाएं आगे बढ़े और तब लगता है कि यह जो छऊ नृत्य का जो लालित्य है, जिसको यूनेस्को ने भी मान्यता दी है और ये हमारा अमूर्त धरोहर है, इंटेंजिबल हेरिटेज के रूप में ये आता है, तो महिलाओं का एक जो वर्ग है उनको हमें इससे जोड़ना होगा और इसके लिए हमें निरंतर प्रयास करना होगा। हम देखते हैं कि लगभग ये समकालीन रहा है सत्रिया का, लगभग ये समकालीन रहा है छऊ नृत्य का, चाहे इसकी प्रवृत्ति अलग हो कि ये छावनी से आया है, चाहे ये छाया से इसकी उत्पत्ति हुई है और इसके विशाल इतिहास पर अभी जाने की आवश्यकता नहीं है कि कलिंग युद्ध से किस प्रकार अशोक ने किया और किस प्रकार राज परिवार ने इसका संरक्षण दिया और किस तरह से मानभूम छऊ, सरायकेला छऊ और मयूरभंज छऊ हुआ, किस प्रकार किसमें मास्क लगता और किसमें नहीं। ये विद्वानों के बीच डिस्कशन का विषय है और कई बातें इसमें रह सकती है। लेकिन जो एक बड़ा बड़ी बिंदु है, एक जो बड़ा दृष्टिकोण है, वो है महिलाओं का इसमें आना। और चाहे वो सरायकेला में रात्रि हो, चाहे वो चंद्रभागा नृत्य हो, चाहे वो आरती हो, पुरुष पात्रों के द्वारा ही उसका संपादन किया जा रहा है। चाहे वो वहां आखेट करने वाला मयूरभंज में हो, चाहे वो दांडी हो, और भी कई प्रकार के जो श्रेणी है डांस की, और उसके जो पाला होते हैं जो जिस कहानी पर आधारित होता है, उसको भी करने वाले लगभग पुरुष हैं। हालांकि अभी ये शुरुआत हुई है। संतोष नायर जी ने, राकेश साईं बाबू जी ने, जन्मजय साईं बाबू ने, छावनी ने मयूरभंज का, उसी प्रकार सरायकेला में शशिधराचार्य जी ने, गोपाल दुबे जी ने, पटनायक जी ने, और भी अनेक गुरु ने अब इस बात को शुरुआत की है। खास करके बंगाल में भी अभी इसकी शुरुआत हो चुकी है। बंगाल की एक घटना है कि गांधी जी को भी, जब गांधी जी कोलकाता आए थे तो उनको भी ये छौ दिखलाया गया था, उनसे बहुत प्रभावित हुए। लेकिन उनमें जो महिला पात्र हैं, चाहे उनको भी पुरुष पात्रों ने करके दिखाया। तो हमारी एक एक्टिविस्ट के रूप में एक मान्यता है, एक मानना है कि अगर हम इसका सतत विकास चाहते हैं, अगर हम इसको उन्नति के शीर्ष पर पहुंचाना चाहते हैं, तो हमें लगता है कि इस नृत्य की जो विधा शैली है, जो बड़ी ही बहुत ही रोचक विधा शैली है, और उस विधा शैली में जिस प्रकार की कुटियाट्टम में, भरतनाट्यम में, जिस प्रकार की मोहिनी अट्टम नृत्य में, ओडिसी में, सतरिया में, नृत्य समूह में महिलाओं का, कुचिपुड़ी में पहले पुरुषों के द्वारा किया जाने वाला नृत्य समूह था, लेकिन महिलाओं का जितना आगमन हुआ, जितना आगे बढ़ी, जो बहनें आगे बढ़ी, तो उसके कारण उसमें जो लालित्य आया और उसमें जो डिवोशन आया, वो जो ताकत आई, तो उसके कारण से उसको एक बड़ा महत्व मिलता है। तो मेरा एक्टिविस्ट के नाते मानना है कि बंगाल के क्षेत्र में जो ICH यूनेस्को काम कर रहा है, छौ के क्षेत्र में संगीत नाटक अकादमी काम कर रहा है, अनेक गुरु, अनेक कलावंत इस क्षेत्र में काम कर रहे हैं, जैसे डॉक्टर सुदीप भुई जी हैं, मलय चौधरी जी हैं, और भी कई लोग हैं, ऐसे बड़े बड़े लोग हैं उसमें जुड़े हुए हैं, रिसर्चर हैं, शोध कर रहे हैं। उन सभी को और हम सभी को मिलकर के इस पर ध्यान देना होगा कि हम अपनी बहनों को, हम अपनी महिलाओं को किस प्रकार जोड़ें, क्योंकि अगर बहनें जुड़ती हैं तो एक परिवार जुड़ता है, और मुझे लगता है इस माध्यम से इस चीज को हम और आगे ले जा सकते हैं, और इनके हम सतत प्रयास इसको हम कर सकते हैं। यह ट्रेडिशन जब डेवलप होगा, तब मैं कह सकता हूं कि एक और आवश्यकता है आज कोविड के संदर्भ में कि हम इस छौ नृत्य को समाज के साथ तो बहुत जोड़े हुए हैं, चाहे यहाँ पे दुर्गा का नृत्य नाटिका हो, चाहे वो और भी नृत्य नाटिका हो, चाहे वो महिषासुर मर्दनी हो, चाहे वो अभिमन्यु वध हो, ये जो भी चीजें चल रही हैं, वो सब के सब उसमें महिलाओं की भागीदारी अब होनी चाहिए। और यह बहुत बड़ा पहल मैं अकादमी में भी इस बात को रखा हूं, मैं ICH के मीटिंग में भी इस बात को रखता हूं कि सिद्धू कान्हू बिरसा यूनिवर्सिटी पुरुलिया ने बहुत बड़ा कदम उठाया कि नचनी पर, झूमर पर, भादों पर, छौ पर इतना वो फोकस कर रहे हैं। और आज जो लोकल और वोकल होने की बात है, वो केवल आर्थिक दृष्टि से होने की बात नहीं है, केवल वो राजनीतिक दृष्टि से होने की बात नहीं है। मुझे लगता है सांस्कृतिक रूप से भी यह लोकल और वोकल होने की जरूरत है। ये पूरे भारतवर्ष की जो एकता है, अखंडता है, उसके जो स्वरूप हैं, वो कला में बसता है, लोक कला में बसता है, और वह संरक्षण करने का अगर कोई काम कर सकता है तो मुझे लगता है वो मातृशक्ति कर सकता है, वो महिलाएं कर सकती हैं। इससे अधिक से अधिक उनको जुड़ना चाहिए। और दूसरी बात, विश्वविद्यालयों को, संस्थाओं को, सरकार को, चाहे वो सरकार किसी भी दल की सरकार हो, कहीं की भी सरकार हो, उनको इस विधा को और कला के जल जमीन और जंगल की चिंता करते हुए भी, खेत में काम करने वाले चाषी भी अगर वो ऐसा काम करते हुए, मेहनत करते हुए अगर इस कला यात्रा को संभाल करके रखे हुए हैं, तो उनको लर्निंग के साथ अर्निंग का भी क्या समाधान होना चाहिए, ये हमारा दायित्व होना चाहिए। और इसके लिए पूरे तौर पर हम लोग प्रयासरत हैं। आप सभी महानुभावों के बड़े उद्बोधन, बड़े शोध परक हमने उद्बोधन सुने, उससे मैं लाभान्वित हुआ हूं, और आपके साथ मिलकर के काम करने में मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगेगा। और जब भी अवसर मिलेगा, संगीत नाटक अकादमी के सदस्य के नाते, ICH के एग्जीक्यूटिव बॉडी के मेंबर के नाते, छौ के कोऑर्डिनेटर के नाते, और एक कल्चरल एक्टिविस्ट के नाते हम इस विश्वविद्यालय के साथ हैं, हम आप सभी के साथ हैं, और जब भी सीखने का कुछ अवसर मिलेगा, कुछ काम करने का अवसर मिलेगा, तो हम जरूर करेंगे। तो मुझे लगता है कि दो पक्ष, एक तो महिलाओं को इसमें आगे आने की आवश्यकता है। कोविड के संदर्भ में इन संस्थाओं ने बहुत बड़ा काम किया है, और भारत सरकार ने जो बड़ा काम किया है वो कल्चरल मैपिंग का काम कर रहे हैं, और ये कल्चरल मैपिंग का काम अभी अधूरा है, ये हमें करना है। और अगर ये पूरा हो जाता है तो इन कलाकारों को जीवन यापन से जब तक हम नहीं जोड़ेंगे तब तक कोई कला नहीं बच सकती है। आज कोविड के संदर्भ में और काम करने की आवश्यकता है, यह अंत नहीं हो गया है, बहुत बड़ा काम लोगों ने नहीं कर दिया है, और उनको सहयोग करने की आवश्यकता है विभिन्न माध्यमों से जोड़कर। मैं इन्हीं के साथ एक बार पुनः आप सभी विद्वानों के प्रति मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं, आयोजकों के प्रति मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं, और अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूं। जय बंगाल, जय भारत, जय कला।
थैंक यू संजय कुमार चौधरी जी, आपके इस तमाम डेलिब्रेशन जो आपने बहुत अच्छे तरीके से छऊ के में महिलाओं का क्या योगदान है, और किस प्रकार से आज कलाकार को जो कोविड के कारण बहुत सारी समस्याएं आ रही है, तो उस समस्याओं से किस प्रकार निजात पाएंगे, इसके क्षेत्र में संगीत नाट्य अकादमी, EZCC एंड अन्य जो संस्थाएं हैं वो काम कर रही है, वो आपने हमें बतलाने का प्रयास किया। many thanks for your deliberation, and we will try to just work with you because you are working so many things in the area of the show, and our department is also engaged in this work. Many thanks. Now
thank you, thanks a lot.
Now I would like to call our Dr. Paltan Kumar Murmu. He is also a program officer in NSS, and just I want to request him to just come and give a vote of thanks because our program is already in the ending portion. Dr. Paltan Kumar Murmu. Paltan Murmu, please. Are you hear me?
Yeah. Thank you, W. Baji. Good afternoon, everyone. Here we come to end of half session webinar. First of all, would like to thank Professor Dr. Mohan K. Gautam, European University of West and East Netherlands, Honorable Guest Speaker Dr. Sujit Kumar Datta, Associate Professor, Department of International Relations, University of Chittagong, Bangladesh, Honorable Guest and Speaker Dr. Sanjay Kumar Chaudhary, Member General Council, Sangeet Natak Academy, and Member of ICH Committee, UNESCO, India. Webinar Organizing Committee and all the participants, students, faculty, and other participants from different university and organization connected online. On behalf of organizing committee in entire for opportunity of Sidhu Kanu Birsa University, and my on behalf convey deep regard and have heart thanks to Professor Dr. Mohan K. Gautam. He presented valuable cultural heritage of South Asia, who has spared his precious time for us and graced this webinar with us presence. I extend a very heart vote of thanks, Honorable Guest of Speaker Dr. Sujit Kumar Datta, who inspired a thorough motivation talk on the cultural heritage perspective of Bangladesh. I also thank Dr. Sujit Kumar Chaudhary. He also valuable presentation Corona pandemic challenges. Thank you so much. I also wish to express my gratitude to our university Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Deepak Kumar Kaur, Registrar Dr. Nachikita Bandopadhyay, Controller of Examinations Dr. Subal Chandra De, Dean of Arts Dr. Sonali Mukherjee, their encouragement and support throughout the process, the international webinar. I would like to thank NSS volunteer Tapos Kumar Mato, Rilomala Soren, webinar secretary Dr. Sudhi Bhoi, convener Dr. Devasis Dag, Dr. Jagbi Purao, Mr. Lakhiram Gok, Dr. Gita Sri Singh, webinar for this support organizing this webinar. I am also thankful our student organizing committee for this working last 10 to 12 days for preparing this webinar. I would like also to thank our technical
Jagdeep, there is some internet problem. Please carry on you and come into the end. And here
Many many thanks. Many thanks to the whole participant who are just participated today and listened us. So many scholars from the nation and the abroad too. They are just deliberated many things regarding us. What is the cultural heritage and what is the situation of the COVID-19 in the present days? They are enlightened us and just give the very wonderful sessions. So I am just thanking to you all of them who are just joined us, and this program is now in the end. So we are just again we will meet after the pandemic situation again. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. See you again.
Okay, sir. Many thanks. Gautam
Thanks all.
sir, Gautam sir, we will meet again. Sanjay sir.
Thank you. Thank you बोल दो ना.
thank you
Thank
to
you
all.
all. Thank you all. Thank you all.
And we hope to follow advice of Professor Gautam sir to this series of lectures will come in published volume in edited forms, and we are trying continuous effort to bring this dream in realized form. Thank you.
Registrar sir, please session টা শেষ করুন. Assistant Registrar sir.
Thank you, Vijay.
Jagdeep ফিরে গেছে. Jagdeep.
आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
Now, with the permission of our authority and organization committee, I hereby declare that the session is closed here. And I bid very goodbye to all of you and expect to see you in near future. Thank you for your participation and extended cooperation. Thank you.